I mean, so of course now, like how you mentioned, this ever changing world of social media and especially live streaming. Uh, how can entrepreneurs and really anyone can adapt to the changes and be cognizant of what's going on in the ever changing world of social media.
Yeah, you just have to stay on top of it and you have to play around with the tools a little bit. I don't think every entrepreneur needs to be on every platform. I don't necessarily, and I say this as somebody who obviously loves live streaming and loves live video and broadcasting. I don't think every business needs to be live streaming. There's so many different ways to put content out there now and to communicate with your customers that you should figure out what is your strength, what do you enjoy doing, and where are your customers, right? So if you're going to live stream and there's no customers and no potential clients and no community to connect to through live streaming, then it's fine to do it, as a hobby, but you're not going to probably move your business forward by doing it. Um, again, if you're a good writer, then maybe you should be blogging. Maybe you should be, if you're really good at interacting with people in social media, maybe you should be going to Twitter chats and things like that. So I think it has to be kind of a combination, right? Where is the community from which you're going to do business hanging out? And how do you find and connect with them? But also, what are you good at and what do you like to do? Because well, you can find where that mixes. That's sort of the sweet spot, right? How you can connect with your potential customers or clients, or find a job or whatever it is that you're looking to get out of the time that you invest in social media.
Yeah, definitely. Now I gotta ask, when you got back into live streaming, did you know that you were going to be successful? As hosting a live stream show, and did you had any doubts?
This is funny because when I discovered Blab and everything, I was literally just watching shows. I was just enjoying the experience. And I started a Livestream Universe Twitter account at Livestream Uni, you and I, at Livestream You and and I got like 500 followers in the first week. And I was like, wow, there really is a passionate community. Now, it hasn't grown like that since, right? Because it's a small community, but it's a passionate community, and it's growing, but it's not huge yet, right? We're sort of in the early adopter phase right now, right? So I did not even have any thought about that, okay, I'm going to do a show or anything. I just thought, like, I want to stay on top of this. We need like a sort of a TV guide kind of thing for what's going on with live streaming. So I started tweeting about who's having a show and when their show is and what they're talking about. And, then I started an Instagram account and would take screenshots of the shows and post it on there. And I thought I'd be perfectly happy to do that. And then, I called into a couple blabs, asked my question, got off. And I thought, okay, that's good. That's good enough. And then eventually I couldn't hold back anymore. I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I better try this. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like this is my area. Like I would do well with it, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little nervous in the beginning. I'd never used a webcam other than two very brief hangouts on air where I was not the host or anything, right? So the whole being on camera thing is new to me. And you can tell, like, I don't yet have a sophisticated background or set or anything, right? My lighting's, it's not that great. So, that I was nervous about being on camera, definitely. Where now, like, I've gotten used to it. I've gotten comfortable. I don't really think about it that much. But the first few times I was definitely, like, a little nervous about being on camera. But as far as hosting a show, I was pretty confident that, like, that would kind of be in my ballpark and I'd be all right on that.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, for me, I'm an introvert, but for some reason, I like being in front. I guess it's because of the fact that I'm interacting with people live here, and it really is cool. So, I mean, that's what I like about live streaming so far is that you can interact with people and also show people what's going on in where you live at.
Yeah, I think introverts actually can make very good on-air personalities and on-air commentators and hosts and things like that. Because part of what you do is you need to listen and you need to hear what the guest is saying, and then think up what your next question is going to be or where you take the conversation. But also maybe, I don't know, but maybe an introvert's more likely to think about how they want their broadcast to go and things like that. It's not just about or it's not just emphasizing the social. I mean, I think we're complex people in that, like, an introvert doesn't necessarily mean that you can't get in front of the camera and do a show or get on the microphone, because I consider myself an introvert as well. So I think we're multifaceted, right? It's complicated.
Yeah, definitely. Now, of course, you mentioned a lot about Blab, which I mean, now I want to talk about an article that you guys posted on called "Farewell to Blab," which, I mean, it basically, I mean, like how they said, like the ever changing of live streaming. Well, Blab was one of them that really just left but I'm not gonna get much into that. So
I try to make my peace with it, right? Like, it was. Look, if it wasn't for Blab, look at all the people that I know now. We wouldn't have connected if it probably wasn't for Blab, right? We might have followed each other on social media, but it was Blab that introduced you to people. Like, you really sitting here face to face. It's like the closest thing to meeting in person, right? So. Yeah, it was awesome. I think people are doing better broadcasts in terms of just like the quality of the show and the quality of the content, the quality of the production, how they're distributing it to different platforms. All that's gotten better since Blab. But Blab did have that unique combination of sort of the social community and the social integration and the great chat and all that stuff. So it had its good things and it had its not so good things, right? But I do think that those people who have stuck with live streaming since, I think they've grown or had to grow, because you don't have that built-in audience like you did on Blab, where you go live and people just find you and come in and out throughout the show. You could do a show for 20 minutes, you could do a show for 4 hours, and you'd still have new people coming in and out. When you're not on a platform like Blab, you have to find an audience. You have to nurture that audience. You need to build a community. You need to think about how you want to promote your broadcast. All these things, all these other elements, right, that you didn't have to think about on Blab, because the momentum just kind of carried itself on. So, like I say, I think having to think about all that and do all that stuff has made the quality of the shows better. But, it's really a very different experience in terms of where the audience is and all that. I mean, the audience on Facebook Live is bigger than the audiences on Blab. It's bigger than the audiences on any of these platforms, but it's people who tend to listen in shorter segments, right? They watch a little bit. They're so many other things to do on Facebook, right? Constant notifications and all that. So it makes you think about your show a little bit differently. It makes you think about your audience a little bit differently and how you connect with people. So there's good things and there's not so good things about Blab going away. But like I said, I think it's made people better, and that's a good thing overall.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I mean, now I got to ask about this because, like, how you mentioned about live streaming per se, I've kind of like, followed this example. I followed your example. I followed Jennifer Quinn's example, like how you guys, broadcast your shows through your Facebook pages, which is really unique and really cool. So how can businesses, if they do decide to go into live stream, if it fits them, how can they utilize live streaming towards their advantage?
I think it's about building the relationships. You have to put out some content that's helpful. It draws people in. If you can make it entertaining, if you can make it something, if it's, it either has to be sort of entertaining, inspiring, or informative, right? And in informative, you need something that's going to teach people or help them solve a problem. So your live streams don't have to be like, okay, I'm selling a mouse. Here is a mouse, right? This is what the mouse looks like. It runs on a, no, that's probably not going to be too entertaining, right? But you could think more broadly about computers and what people do, and then at the end you say, and if you need a mouse for your computer, in other words, you got to find a way to connect what you do to an audience in a bigger sense than just the features and benefits of a product, which may or may not make for an interesting broadcast. You got to figure out what the people who are using a mouse, what their pain points are, right? What they're interested, what they're talking about. It may be technology in general. It may be things that relate to computers. It may be, doing a show about going wireless and you're using a wireless mouse instead of, a wired one or whatever. But you got to think in terms of where can I find some rich content? Where can I find topics that are interesting, that I can get guests on to talk about, or that I can talk directly in my community? And there's many different ways to do it.